Medusa, public humiliation to glow up. We've all seen it, haven't we? A woman says no, and instead of respecting her boundaries, some men choose to react with anger, slander, or even public humiliation. This pattern is as old as time, woven into myths, stories, and even our daily lives. But why does this happen? Why does admiration so often turn into vilification when a woman dares to assert her sovereignty? Today, we will delve into the pattern, examining the wounded masculine ego, the manipulation of shame, and the profound strength of feminine retribution. Together, I will approach this differently, drawing insights not only from Medusa's tale, but from a powerful excerpt in The Color Purple, while sharing aspects of my personal journey. Welcome to the Dark Mother Mysteries, a sanctuary for sacred reclamation. Who am I? I am Shadow Moon, priestess, oracle, and head mistress of the Dark Mother Mysteries. This is the space where we reclaim the forgotten truths buried beneath fear and distortion and rise into our sacred power. If you are ready to journey into this reclamation, subscribe now, share this video, like this video, and step boldly into your sacred path. Lesson 1: The Wounded Masculine Ego. Why do some men vilify women who say no? The answer lies in the archetype of the wounded masculine ego. For some, rejection or loss of access to a woman's energy is not seen as a boundary to respect, but as a blow to their identity, their pride, and their sense of control. When they can no longer possess or dominate, their admiration turns from slander to love to disdain. This is the same dynamic we see in Medusa's story. She was admired for her beauty, her power, her presence. But when that power threatened the patriarchal order, when her sovereignty could not be subdued, admiration turned to fear and fear to demonization. Her story mirrors the experience of countless women whose no has been met with has not been met with acceptance but retaliation. This wounded ego is not a reflection of you as a person. It is a reflection of their inability to face their own insecurities. And yet, its consequences can feel devastating. Lesson 2: How this pattern persists today. One of the most damaging ways men attempt to reassert control is through the weaponization of shame. Public humiliation becomes a tactic, a way to reestablish dominance in the quote unquote village square, which in today's world has become social media. I have felt this sting personally. I've experienced the humiliation of being publicly disrespected by men I once trusted, who, when denied access to me, my time, my energy, and my body, resorted to slander. They turned the sacred spaces of my life into platforms for their wounded egos, and it was very painful, deeply painful. Their fragile egos could not accept that my energy was no longer available to them. So, like the myths of old, they attempted to turn admiration into humiliation. They tried to paint me as a villain, embarrass, degrade, and expose private information. It was intentional acts of emotional harm, cruelty, and unjust actions to get so called revenge towards me. Even years later, the sting of those betrayals linger, not because I hold on to the pain, but because it reminds me of the depth of the injustice. And I know that their actions were rooted in frailty and an inability to process their own emotions maturely and a misguided attempt to regain control. Their actions said far more about them than they ever could about me. And like Medusa, I refuse to let their actions define me. If you've experienced this too, know this: you're not crazy for still feeling it. Shame is a heavy weight, and public humiliation cuts deeply. Social media, for all of its benefits, amplifies this experience, turning private wounds into public spectacle. But let us remember that this shame is not yours to carry. It is a weapon wielded by those who cannot handle your sovereignty. Lesson 3: Why some men resort to public humiliation. When men are denied access to a woman's energy, beauty, or body, many, especially those ruled by the wounded masculine ego, will resort to vilifying her. It's not truly about the woman herself, it's about their own inability to handle the reflection she offers. They feel rejected, they feel powerless, and rather than facing their own emotional fragility, they lash out to try to restore the illusion of control. This is why Medusa was turned from priestess to monster. This is why women today are often demonized for their no, because sovereignty is terrifying to those who only seek to conquer, not to honor. Lesson 4: Celie's curse, an invocation and sacred retribution to disrespect. Sometimes we carry sacred rage, and that rage is not evil. It is a signal that a boundary has been crossed, a wrong has been committed. In Alice Walker's The Color Purple, when Celie finally stands up to her abuser, she utters a powerful curse. Until you do right by me, everything you think about is going to crumble. It is a moment of raw, sacred truth, an invocation of divine justice. Far from being petty, this moment embodies ancestral and spiritual law. The idea that when a woman's pain goes unanswered, the universe itself steps in to rebalance the scales. And y'all, this isn't about revenge, it's about sacred retribution. It's about honoring the sacred rebalancing that occurs when harm is done. A woman's pain, when offered to the divine, becomes a force of transformation. It becomes a prayer, a call for justice, and a catalyst for change. I have felt Celie's curse rise in my own heart, and when the weight of humiliation felt unbearable, I invoked her curse onto those men who harmed me. Yes, I did. The time for allowing men to get away with causing so much pain is over with. See, this is the left hand path that we walk over here on the Dark Goddess, in the Dark Goddess arena. Listen, we don't just wait for karma to do her job, because sometimes karma be taking a long time. You know what we do? We call a bitch to show up and to show out on our behalf. Period. Lesson 5: Healing after energetic violation. When we experience public humiliation, especially at the hands of someone who we once trusted, the wound goes deeper than embarrassment. It touches the sacred core, the place where we trust and beauty dwells, and spirit dwell as well. Healing that wound requires you to be gentle with yourself and takes time. Here are 4 steps for healing protection and reclaiming your power. Number 1, emotional healing. Allow yourself to grieve the betrayal. Y'all, this is so important. Name it for what it was. Allow yourself to feel, journal your pain, engage in shadow work, and reach out for support. Healing isn't linear, and it's okay to revisit your wounds as part of the process. 2, set spiritual boundaries. Create space for your own sovereignty through warding rituals, banishing practices, and ancestral prayers. Calling on your spiritual lineage to protect and guide you. Perform cord cutting rituals, return to sender ceremonies, and ancestral cleansings. Energetically, this is number 3. Rebuild your aura with daily affirmations, prayer, and and grounding. Number 4, reclaim your truth. If your reputation has been tarnished, speak your truth when and how you feel ready. Reclamation is not about proving yourself to others, It's about standing in your own integrity. And number 5, revenge through success. Sometimes the most powerful response is to rise. Elevate your life, your spirit, and your glow. Let your success speak louder than your words. Your joy, your growth, your radiance, these are the acts of sacred retribution. Remember, Medusa's story doesn't end with her demonization. Her power, her truth, her legacy persists, and so will yours. Lesson 6, from humiliation to glow up, the sacred strategy. Here's how you transform public shaming into sacred rebirth. 1, go dark for 6 months. Step off of social media, disappear. No posts, no peaks, no presence. Number 2, sever access. Block him, block his friends, block his family, block the entire energetic bloodline, y'all. He can no longer have access to you. Period. Number 3, protect yourself legally. Y'all, we have got to protect ourselves. In this world, in the words of Malcolm X, by any means necessary. File a police report, bring charges up against him, get a restraining order if you have to. Make sure your documentation is on point, y'all. Your spirit deserves earthly protection as well. Number 4, glow up in private. So you're going to focus on yourself during this time. You're going to focus on your body, your exercise, your nutrition. You're going to stay hydrated. You're going to mind your business. You're going to focus on your education or your career and your brilliance. Study, rest, heal, and grow. Number 5, rebuild spiritually. Do cutting, exercising, do wardings, do ancestral work. Speak your truth to your altar until the shame dissolves. And y'all, if you need to speak with somebody, go to a therapist or a counselor, do that as well. There's nothing wrong with getting the help that you need. Number 6, and you know what? Succeed silently. Do it for you and nobody else. In closing, reclaiming sovereignty. Y'all, sis, we have come full circle. From the depths of Medusa's origins to the power of her gaze, her crown, and her story, we have unraveled the truth behind the lies. Medusa's story is not just a myth, it is a guide, a reflection, a call to reclaim what has been lost. It is a reminder that the feminine cannot be silenced, demonized, or erased. It is internal, untamed, and rising with every one of us. For me, this journey has been deeply personal. Sharing Medusa's truth has mirrored my own healing, my own reclamation of power after moments of being vilified and disrespected. And like Medusa, I know what it feels like to be misunderstood, to be turned into a villain for simply standing in my truth. And yet, here we are, rising, healing, reclaiming the parts of ourselves that patriarchy and men tried to break. I hope the series has reminded you that you too can rise, that no matter how many times the world tries to dim your light, your sovereignty is unshakable. Medusa's story has taught us many things: the power of raw feminine presence, the deeper meaning of our hair, the power of feminine gaze, the truth hidden behind vilification, and the sacred retribution that comes when divine justice steps in. And most of all, it has taught us that we hold the power to transform the narrative, to turn shame into sovereignty, to turn pain into purpose, to turn vilification into what? Victory. Thank you for journeying with me through the forgotten mysteries of Medusa. If her story has moved you, transformed you, or inspired you, take these lessons with you. Embody the power of her gaze, the sacredness of her crown, and the strength of her sovereignty. Share her truth so that others too can rise into their power. Through this Medusa series, though this Medusa series has come to an end, we still have more goddesses to journey through. The Dark Mother Mysteries will continue as we explore even more sacred wisdom, feminine truths, forbidden truths, and the hidden realms of feminine power. This is a sanctuary, a circle, a revolution, and I am honored to share this space with you. And until next time, I am Shadow Moon, priestess, oracle, and head mistress of the Dark Mother Mysteries. Thank you for walking the sacred path with me. And with that, class is dismissed.